Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Amanda and this is my channel Birch and Lily, where I talk all about all sorts of nitty goodness. Today is a little bit different of a video than normal, so if you are a new person, I know these videos tend to pull in a lot of new people, so a very special thank you to you if you are new here. But I'm going to be talking about everything that I knit in 2023. So it's going to be a long video, but hopefully it will be very entertaining for you. I hope you'll enjoy it. It was crazy. You can see the stack of stuff behind me. It was crazy to pull everything out and realize how much I actually accomplished in the past year, because I don't feel like I did nearly as much as what this stack here is showing. So yeah, hopefully, I don't know, it inspires you. I also want to say though too, if you didn't get this much knitting done, don't feel bad. I work from home. I don't go into the office every day. I can knit constantly, so I have a lot of time to get things done. So don't feel bad in the slightest. I also want to say real quickly too, I purchased a camera and I'm recording on a camera now as opposed to my phone. So please bear with me if you notice anything different or anything weird. I'm trying my best. I've done tons of research, but it's very different for me. So hopefully this goes well. Probably not the best video to be testing this out on, but it is what it is. I got it and I'm excited and I want to use it. So thank you if you have been supporting the channel over the past year, because your support is the reason I was able to purchase this camera, so I really, really appreciate it. Real quickly as well, there are a few places you can find me on the internet, the main one being Instagram at birch.and.lily, and I also have a website, birchandlilyfiber.com. I do sell hand-dyed yarn and notions, accessories for knitting on there as well. The site is closed right now. Actually, no, by the time this video goes up, it will be open again. So definitely, if that's something that interests you, everything, all the places you can find me, everything I talk about today, all of that will be linked down below in the description. So let us get started. I was relatively good this past year at keeping a knitting journal and kind of writing down little details about everything that I made over the past year. So I'm going to go in chronological order the best I can and kind of talk quickly about things. I don't want to get too much into detail on anything, but I will talk about like the size I knit, if it was a test knit, if it was a gift knit, what yarn I used, that sort of thing. And also if I've worn the garment a lot, how it held up, would I knit it again, all those sorts of fun things. And that is kind of what I take for notes in my knitting journal. I also leave a little scrap of yarn in there as well, just so I have a little memory book of what I've worked on over the past year. So we have the stack. I didn't sort the stack in the best way. I think the first one I need is on the bottom, but let's find it in here and we will get started. I am going to just adjust myself as well so that I can hopefully put photos, like finished object photos and stuff up on the screen too, since I won't be putting every garment on, but I have lots of photos of everything, most everything completed that can show you kind of the fit and how it is that way. So my first finished object is the port sweater by Ozetta. Okay, so we've adjusted, so hopefully I can put photos on the screen and also hold these up in a way that you can see them. But my first finished object is my port sweater by Ozetta. This is just a really big, oversized, squishy sweater, and it has this really neat shoulder detail on it. I knit this as a test knit, and I knit, what size did I knit? I didn't write it down. Oh, there it is. I knit the size 3 for this one. It is very oversized, as you can probably see from the photos. I love the fit of this. I love the big, huge, squishy cuffs. Everything is finished with a tubular bind off. And what did I use for yarn? I knit this out of Wool Dreamers Moda Blanco, and then I did hold double with that my Surrey base, Birch Surrey, which is a combination of Surrey alpaca and silk in the colorway Sugar Plum Fairy. Now this is going to be my first I wouldn't do this again thing. The problem with holding the Sugar Plum Fairy is it's such a light color. It's a mix of like pinks and blues and purples, and held up against this white, the Blanco color is a yellowish color, and if you know color theory, purples and blues, colors like that, are going to cancel out the yellow, not be visible on the yellow, so you can't see the rainbow colors of the Surrey at all on this. I like it in the end. I am a little disappointed it didn't have that rainbowy sort of marl throughout it, but it's still beautiful. I did get a lot of wear out of this in the earlier winter months of 2023, and I haven't pulled it out since, mostly because I just recently organized my whole sweater cabinet. I just got a cabinet for them, so everything was tucked and lost in quarters and I didn't really know where it was. So now that I've seen this again, I do definitely want to pull it out and wear it some more. The other change I did make, the sweater calls for a really high turtleneck collar, which looks ridiculous on me. So I did just fold it down and tack it down on the inside of the garment. So that is my port sweater by Ozetta. I love it. It's beautiful. Like I said, only thing I would have changed is that Surrey. I probably could have just used an undyed instead of bothering to dye a special Surrey up for this, because you don't really see it. My next finished object is the only pair of socks I knit this whole year, which is crazy. I used to be a super avid sock knitter, but these are the Stronger Than the Storm socks. This is a pattern by Emma Janet of Bloom and Create, and I knit these out of Woolberry Fiber Co. It's a berry sock set in the colorway Anne Shirley. I did cast on the 60 stitch size for these, and I'm very happy with how they turned out. The color work is beautiful. I love how it's on the toe as well. And I had lofty goals to knit up every single one of Woolberry's and of Green Gable themed sock sets this year, and it just did not happen. So it's what it is. I just haven't felt like knitting socks in the past year, but these are beautiful. I love how they turned out, and they are, I haven't worn them. They're beautiful. I love them. I just, again, they got tucked away in a corner and I forgot about them. And to be honest, I'm not a huge hand knit sock wearer. I think I loved knitting them previously because they moved so quickly. But now that I don't know, this past year has been a year for me where I've realized what I enjoy wearing knit-wise and what I don't. And I've just learned socks and shawls are just something I don't enjoy wearing. I like wearing hand knit sweaters, and so that's what I've been putting my effort into. The next finished sweater that I have is the striped sweater by Andrea Mowry, and I'm not happy with this. I really should either just rip it out and give it away, or I don't know. Rip it out or give it away, rather. But the fit of this is just not correct. I think I chose one size too large. I think I should have knit one size smaller on this one. I knit the size 4, and just because of the yoked fit, I guess this is kind of the part of the year too where I learned I don't like how yoked sweaters fit on me. I prefer a raglan or a drop shoulder. So I guess it was a good learning experience. But speaking of new camera, the battery died on me already. Now this one was not fully charged, so hopefully this next battery makes it a little bit longer for me. But back to this. I learned I don't like how yoked sweaters fit me. They just, I don't know. They don't fit right, and because this one's too big, it buckles funny in the front, and so I'm just not a fan of that. So I wouldn't knit the size 4 again. I'm also not 100% a fan of the yarn. This was sent to me from Hobie. It is their Hobie Amigo, and it's acrylic, and I just don't like how acrylic wears. It makes me sweaty. So I just haven't pulled for this one, and I think it's something that I'm just going to have to gift to someone else who might love it, or just rip it out and do something else with it because it just doesn't fit me right. So that was knit number 2, or sweater garment number 2. I'm thankful for what I learned from that one. I feel like I learned a lot, and yeah. Oh, you know what I've forgotten to say for these, so, and thankfully I'm not that far, so I'll catch myself up quickly. But starting after the port sweater, I did start keeping track of how long it took me to knit each item, so I will tell you that as well. So the Stronger Than the Storm socks, I started those January 10th, 2023, and I finished them on February 12th. As for the striped sweater, I started that January 17th and finished it February 3rd. So yeah, not a yoked sweater person, but I'm glad I learned that. I think that was the first one that didn't fit me right, and I knit maybe one other yoked garment this year that didn't fit, and then that was kind of it for me. But next item I knit, I can't find it. I can't find photos of it, but I did knit a hat really quickly. This was a test knit for Lindsey Fowler for the yearling hat, which I think just released in a magazine recently. So I did knit that. I don't have photos or anything. I'm sorry about that, but I did start it January 17th and finished it January 21st. And then the next garment that I cast on is probably one of my favorite knits of the year. This was my Downtown Hoodie test knit for Tori Yu, and I wear this one so much. I knit the size 3 for this, and it has a hood and drawstrings. The drawstrings work, which is crazy to me. They are just an I-cord. We'll see how my product showcase focus is working. I can't fully tell. Actually, let's see. Oh yeah. That's one of the reasons I got this camera, is it has really quick autofocus for showing stuff up close, and I do that all the time with knitting. So anyways, working drawstring, working hood. This garment fits me like a dream. I think I wrote down how much ease I have on this one. I have about 3 inches of positive ease on here, and I figured out that's my sweet spot. That's about what I love. I knit this out of 2 of my yarns. This is my DK base from Birch and Lily Fiber Co. I won't say that all the time following this. I'll just say my DK base. But this is Birch DK, which is a 100% superwash merino. And the darker color here, this is called Graphite, and the lighter one is called Jarradale. And I love it. It fits me great. It was really fun to knit. The hood was really fun to learn to knit. It was something new, something I hadn't done before. And looking at my notes here, yeah, I just say I love the fit of this. It was great. It was super fun. This was this my first Tori Yu test knit? It might have been. I think it was. I test a lot for Tori now. Her patterns are beautiful and so well written and classic. I think that's what I love about this. I'm like a classic cozy girl, and a hoodie is like the epitome of classic cozy. So that is, yeah, it's something I grab a lot, and it's really cozy and just, oh my gosh, with a pair of leggings, it's beautiful. With jeans, it's cute. So I cast this on January 20th and I finished it on February 14th. I should say as well, if you have any questions about anything I talk about, I know I am kind of sort of rushing through this, but I want to keep the video not too long because you can see my stack here, and I also don't want to bore anyone. I don't know. So yeah, I'm trying not to say too much. I've talked about all of these in previous podcast episodes, but if you have questions, please ask me down in the comments. I can either direct you to the podcast that this was talked about in, or just answer your question. So I should also say this is a Raglan fit, so one of my preferred fits. Somewhere in this pile I have a dog sweater. Let's see, here we go. So this was kind of spur of the moment. It was kind of my husband's idea. but I think it turned out really cute. I had yarn left over from my stripes sweater by Andrea Mowry, so I cast on the canine stripes sweater by Nina Holbakova, and I knit this for my dog, obviously. I have a corgi, so I did have some issues knitting this, and I don't think it has anything to do with the pattern. I think it has to do with the fact that my dog is strangely shaped. She's a corgi, but I cast this on so that we could have matching sweaters. She hates it. I think she wore it for the photos, and that was about it. But it was fun. It was just a good way to use up the yarn as well. But yeah, she's just not a sweater girl, which is really sad because I would knit her more stuff if she wore it, but she doesn't. So I knit this. I used up the rest of, if not most of, the yarn that was left over from my striped sweater, and is what it is. I don't even know if I wrote down. Oh, I knit her the size large, which seems about right. She is large bodied, but then her legs are short and her neck is short, so I think that's kind of what threw off the sizing on it, but it was fun. It was worth it for the photos, so that was that. Let's see, I cast that on February 4th and I finished it February 10th. The next knit I don't have with me. This was yoke sweater number 2 of this year, and I had gauge issues. I realized yokes don't fit me right. There was just a plethora of stuff that went wrong with this. I love the sweater though. The pattern's great. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. It was me issues. So this was the Laneway sweater. I'm assuming I'm putting a photo on the screen. The Laneway sweater by Sarah Opie. It was another test knit, and I knit the size 4. Now I have no idea, like I said, what happened with my gauge, but it was supposed to be 20 stitches per 4 inches, and I blocked it after I did a gauge swatch, and the gauge swatch was correct, but once I blocked it, it was suddenly 18 stitches per 4 inches. So it did not fit me right. I gave it to my mom. She tried it on. It fits her beautifully. It's her kind of colors too. It's just, it was made for her. It was meant to be. So it lives with my mom now. But I did knit this out of Birch DK in Serendipity and Euphoria. Serendipity is the darker color you're seeing on the screen, and Euphoria is the lighter speckly purple. So she's very happy with it. She loves it. She's always wanted a sweater. So it worked out well. I cast this on February 12th and finished it March 19th. We're gonna get better at this as we go on with the video. Yes, I would knit the downtown hoodie again. Laneway, I would knit for someone else. It was well written, it was fun to knit, but the fit just isn't for me. So I wouldn't let that deter you from knitting it if you like it. I just am not a yoked sweater person, and so yeah, downtown is for me, Laneway not so much. The next pattern is one of my most worn sweaters as well. It seems most of my most worn sweaters are from the beginning of the year. I have a couple from later, but most of them are from the beginning of the year. I was on a ball with picking the right patterns, it seems. This is my Seaway pullover by Ozetta. It's a dropped shoulder, beautiful garment with these gorgeous cables. Again, the really loose, squishy cuff, nice long ribbing on the bottom, and I wear this so much. I think it has to do partially with the color. This yarn here is Birch DK in the colorway Petrichor, and I just love it. There's something about this color that I think matches with everything, so I think that's part of the reason it gets a lot of wear, but also just because it's such a simple, classic, boxy dropped shoulder shape. I love, love, love that. It's got a beautiful shoulder seam as well. I knit the size 2 for this one, believe it or not. That seems strange, but it says, yeah, I knit a size 2. Usually I'm knitting about a size 3 or 4 at least. And I started this February 14th, finished it March 4th. So yeah, I wear this one so much. If it wasn't for the fact that I wanted to wear something I hadn't knit in this past year so that I could hold everything up and still wear sweatpants, I probably would have picked this to wear, or something that's coming much later in the podcast. It might be this. Love this one so much. I packed it with me over our Christmas holidays back home to Canada, and I think I wore it like 4 or 5 days. So, and I still haven't washed it. It's holding up really, really well. There's like a little bit of pilling, which there's always going to be with 100% merino garments, just because merino is such a soft fiber, it's going to pill a little bit. But I haven't had to de-pill it yet, so I feel like that says quite a bit, even with how much I have worn it. But yeah, there's a close-up of those pretty cables. If you haven't knit cables before, I think this would be a great way to start because there's only one type of cable in the whole garment and it's very, very simple. Would I knit this again? Yes, 100%. I think it would be really fun in like a light beigey sort of color. Also a mustard, like a deep, deep mustard yellow. 100% would knit it again. I also apologize if I keep looking at my monitor and not my lens. I'm trying really hard, but this setup is so different than what I'm used to before. My monitor was in a totally different spot, but now it's connected to my camera, so it takes some getting used to, but we'll get there. There are a whole bunch of knits in here that I started and did not finish in the next little bit. One day I'll finish them. I've kept them. I've also become really good this year at ripping something out if I don't want to knit it anymore. There are many projects in here that just have like frogged, abandoned, quit written on them, and I'm proud of myself for that because having stuff sitting around that I am not enjoying anymore is not worth my time. So yeah, the stuff that I skipped by in here, I want to finish all of them. I've just been busy with other things. But the next finished object I have, we're getting into some more tees now, kind of getting into that starting to knit for summer season. This is another test knit for Tori Yu, the Uptown Tee, and I really enjoy this one as well. I knit a size 3 and the color is, it's actually pretty accurate. I'm pretty impressed. I knit this out of Birch sock, which is a 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon in the colorway Hyacinth. And so it's just a really simple boxy cropped raglan tee, but it has this beautiful lace detail on the shoulders. They're little capped shoulders, so they fit, they sit probably about there. And then yes, cropped on the bottom, and it has a I-cord to finish it off. And then, yeah, the neckline is not an I-cord, it's just a really simple raw neckline. I really like this one. I wore this a lot in the summer with shorts or even with jeans. It looks really cute with high-waisted jeans. I enjoyed knitting it a lot. This lace is not too complicated, but complicated enough that like you had the stockinette relief on the body and then the fun on the little cap sleeves. This part of the body was maybe a little bit of a slog, especially because it's knit out of fingering weight yarn, but it wasn't too bad because it's cropped. I think, do I have, yeah. The body length I knit this to is about 10 inches. I do have written here that it's maybe a tiny bit too short and I could have done like 11 inches and I think I would have been a little bit happier, but I still think it's really cute. Over dresses as well, or skirts, it's really beautiful. That's something this past year I've got into a lot as well, is wearing hand knit sweaters over dresses, and I love the look. I think it's really cute and cozy. A lot of my cropped sweaters I tend to wear over dresses now, so huge fan of that. Yeah, circumference wise, great, love that. Like I said, just length a little bit longer, so I would knit this again. I would just lengthen it that teensy tiny little bit. I started this March 19th and I finished it March 29th. So I knit that in 10 days. That's crazy. I feel like I slowed down in this last little bit of the year and I'm like in a hurry to get stuff finished, where I guess this doesn't have sleeves. That makes a big difference. Like once you finish the raglan and separate for the sleeves on this and start working the body, I think there was like 2 rows on these sleeves and then just the I-cord so the sleeves went very fast. Yeah, love this, love the yarn. I really should knit like not a full solid long sleeve sweater in this color, but maybe some color work with this because it's just so fun and poppy and beautiful, and yeah, I love it. Next tee that I knit is a test knit for Rebecca Clow. Was this my first Rebecca test knit? I think it was. This is another person I test knit a lot for now, is Rebecca Clow. And yes, this was my first Rebecca Clow test knit. This is my Tolsta tee, and I knit the size 4 in this. Here we go. I feel like this was one of my most popular, not my most, but one of my most popular knits on Instagram this year. This is just a really simple, classic raglan tee with a really loose gauge. This is knit out of DK weight yarn, my 100% superwash merino base again. And this has a gauge of, I think 18 stitches per inch. So really loose, really flowy and drapey, which makes it perfect actually for summer, even though it is knit out of that merino. The drape and the looseness and the airiness makes it totally doable for summer. So I knit this with stripes, as you can see. This light pink here is called Jillian. This is Allie, Kindred Spirits, and then Christine. And the lighter color is just undyed yarn. I had a lot of fun knitting this. I learned how to knit over my ends on this so that I don't have to weave in so many ends, and I think that was a great thing to learn. And yeah, I've got quite a bit of wear out of this. I would knit it again. I think the only thing I would change is making the sleeves a little bit shorter. The only reason they are so long is because I wanted them to end on the same spot as the body stripes. But I think if I would have stopped them, like maybe even before the Christine stripe, I would have been a little bit happier with them, but nothing so bad that like I never want to wear it. I got a lot of wear out of this. It's very cute, tucked into like with a French tuck in the front of some high-waisted jeans or high-waisted shorts. So yeah, it was a very fun knit, and I really enjoy. I dyed these colors up specifically for it, and I don't know, the outcome of it I'm really pleased with. I have written on here again, fit is amazing. The body length is 11 inches from the underarm, and I love the length of it. So that goes to show that the notes I had made about the Uptown Tee being just like an inch too short were correct. And yeah, I cast this on March 20th, finished it April 5th. Very fast knit. If you are wanting to gift knit someone a garment, or you just need something quickly for some event or something, I don't know, this is a great garment for that. It knit up very, very quickly and very beautifully. So I think Rebecca is coming out with a tank version this coming year, and I am very interested in knitting that as well. Next garment is literally my most liked, most loved garment on Instagram, on YouTube, everything of the year, and I love it. I can see why. This is my Heirloom Quilt Cardigan by Katrin Seeberger. I love it, but I also have things to say about it, so we'll get into that. But this is a huge, oversized drop shoulder quilt motif cardigan. I knit the size 2. This only comes in 3 sizes, which is a little disappointing, but I see why she did it, and I feel like it is adjustable, but you have to be more of a advanced knitter, I think, to be able to adjust it, which is a little annoying, but yeah, here it is. What did I change about this? I did not knit every single block individually. The pattern calls to knit all of the blocks individually and then seam them all together. I did a join as you go method for my whole garment so that I didn't have to do that, and I'm glad I did that. I think that sped up the process a little bit for me and saved me some time. The only thing I wish I hadn't done about that was doing slip stitches on the edges of the blocks that were going to be around the neckline, because my neckline rides up. I think you can even tell that just holding it here. This corner pops up quite a bit and that bothers me, and I find I'm tugging on it a lot. I could take the neckline out and reknit it. Am I going to do that? Likely not. But it does, yeah, just ride up that little itty bitty bit. And then I did the bubble sleeve option on here and just a 1x1 ribbed cuff with a tubular bind. Oh no, that's not a tubular bind off. Just a 1x1 ribbed cuff with a normal bind off. I really like how it fits. It's very warm, so I don't tend to wear it a lot other than like when it's really, really cold out. And this winter has been very warm, so I haven't got a lot of wear out of it this winter. But yeah, love the outcome of it. Just wish it didn't ride up on this rib here. And that's a me thing because I made some modifications, so is what it is. I'm not going to go, obviously, into all the yarn I used for this because there's a bajillion scraps in here, but I just used up a whole bunch of scraps. I held fingering weight double for this whole garment. That's something else I would change. The pattern calls to hold fingering weight double throughout. I don't think that's necessary. I do wish I knit this just out of DK weight yarn. I don't like knitting with fingering weight held double. I don't like how it feels on my hands. And the fabric is just maybe a little too dense for me. I feel like it loses the drape for some reason. So that I would change as well. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's such a heirloom piece, hence the name, I guess, Heirloom Quilt Cardigan. Yeah, I feel like it was such a labor of love and it was so much fun to do, and I hope I can get some more wear out of it in the next little bit. If it would just cool down a little bit. Yeah, it's a beautiful garment and it will be well cherished. So I don't have many notes on this one for some reason, but I started this April 5th and finished it July 6th. It takes a long time to knit. There's just so many color changes and stuff like that that it's time consuming, but I do think it's worth it. I just wish it had more sizes. But yeah, it took me a long time, but I did really enjoy knitting it. I did enjoy working with Katrin. This is her first pattern, so it was really fun in that way. And yeah, I think if you have lots of scrap yarn that you want to use up and you're willing to put in the effort and the time, it's a worthy knit for scrap yarn. So that is that. Next we have another tee. This is another one I really, really like the fit out of. This is my Color Tip Tee by Emily Curtis. This is another one I feel like I got a lot of wear out of in the summer. I really wanted to knit this one because I knit this sweater, which is the Dad Sweater by Emily Curtis, and this tee has the same garment shaping as the Dad Sweater. It's just a t-shirt version, and I love the fit of this sweater, the Dad Sweater, which I guess I didn't talk about at the beginning, but this is a Dad Sweater by Emily Curtis. It's just a really big, cozy, set-in sleeve-esque garment. I knit this out of, what yarn is this? It's from my shop. I think Birch Sock in Blackcurrant and Birch Surrey in Heirloom Pumpkin. But yeah, love this. Very cozy, wear it a lot. I knit this because I liked the fit of this. So I knit this out of Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry Tweed. The darker color is called Slow Fashion, and the lighter color is called Sandcastle. Did I say I knit the size 4? I knit the size 4 for this, and it fits great. It has a folded over collar on it, just really nice 1x1 rib cuffs and hem, and then the really cute pocket. This is seamed on, so you do knit it, you pick up stitches on the bottom and then knit it up and then seam the sides on when you're complete. I had a lot of fun with it. I realized doing this that seaming maybe isn't as bad as I thought. I don't mind seaming too much, so yeah, and I think the outcome of this pocket is great. I have ends in here I never wove in. Whoops. But yeah, the outcome is great. The fit is great. It's a nice cozy oversized tee. Again, really cute, tucked into the front of like high-waisted jeans, stuff like that. I love the outcome. I would knit it again. Maybe in a different yarn. This tweed base is a very, very thin fingering weight, and it makes for, it's hard to tell, but like quite a see-through fabric, quite a loose fabric. I wouldn't mind something a little bit denser and a little bit more, with a little bit more structure to it, because this is definitely, like, you can tell just from me holding it up, it's quite drapey. So I wouldn't mind knitting this again in something a little bit denser, but I got a lot of wear out of it this summer because it's so airy and drapey. So great test knit. As you can tell, this is where this is the year of test knits. It's mostly what I did. I love it. I've fallen in love with test knitting, and so this year was kind of where that blossomed. I think almost everything that I knit this year is a test knit. So yeah, if you like seeing patterns ahead of time, this channel is for you, I guess. If you don't like seeing something and not being able to knit it for a couple months though, not for you. But the color tip tee, I cast that on April 7th, finished it April 25th. The next pattern that I knit, I didn't write the size down for, but I'm 99% sure I knit the size 5 for this. This is another one that has one random end that I forgot to weave in and I still haven't done. But this is the Resource Raglan. It's a pattern by Sarah Opie, which is the largest, most in-depth pattern I've ever seen in my life. The point of this pattern is to be able to pick and choose pieces of it to make the raglan of your dreams. You can pick neck types, so like, do you want a high neck collar, do you want a v-neck, do you want an I-cord around your v-neck? You can pick hem types, you can pick sleeve types, like literally anything and everything you could possibly want is a part of this pattern. So the way this pattern is set up is by gauge. So you're going to knit a swatch with whatever yarn you want to use, figure out what your gauge is, and then pick your pattern, or the pattern you're going to use based on your gauge, and then go through and decide what elements of that gauge pattern you want to use. So hopefully that makes sense. I did the V-necked ribbed neckline and the double raglan. So 2 stitches wide raglan. I did a split hem on here with the hem in the front is longer, or shorter rather, than the hem in the back. And I did that with just a 1x1 rib. And then what did I do for the sleeves? I think I just did a regular like slow decrease on the sleeves with a 1x1 cuff. I knit this out of Birch DK in the color Marvelous. And I really like the fit of this one. It's just a classic cozy fit. Again, looks great with leggings or with jeans. I love a split hem for leggings. Something about that detail is really cute. The fit is good. I do maybe wish, like I said, I think I knit the size 5. I do maybe wish I knit the size 6. So it was a little bit bigger, because I will say this is like more of a snug fitted fit on me. So maybe I wish I would have gone a size up, but I would 100% knit this again. Like there's just so many things that I can do with this pattern that of course I would knit it again, because there's hundreds of options that I would love to try. It's so well written, it's so detailed, it's such a labor of love pattern wise. I can't even imagine sitting down and just even starting to work on something so complicated like this, because that just, it's too daunting to me, to be honest. Really worth the purchase, in my opinion. If you're just starting out with a sweater, I maybe wouldn't do this because it would be overwhelming. I also would say highly recommend reading through the whole pattern first before you start. I feel like I missed stuff in it, and then I was knitting a certain portion and then would be like, oh, I kind of wish I would have done that, but I didn't know that was in here. So I think I would read through it first, but it's like a choose your own adventure book, but for a sweater. That's the best way I can put it. So enjoyed this test knit a lot, would knit it again. I started this April 16th and finished it June 5th. My pile is getting a little wobbly on the floor. Marigold Tee. This was a test knit for Winter's Weather Knits. I knit the size 4, and this is something I don't think I would knit and this is something I don't think I would knit it again, and I'm not happy with the yarn either. I wanted to try cotton. I think that's part of the problem. I don't like cotton. I hate it. I hate how it feels. I hate how it knits up. The texture is just, it feels like a wax crayon to me. And the fit of this is not right on me. The sleeves are too long, but there's no way to adjust that. The way this is knit is very unique. I will say I enjoyed the challenge of the construction of this. It's very different. It's nothing like anything I've ever knit before. But there's no adjusting the sleeves. The sleeves are like the first thing you knit, and so once they're done, they're done. And once I put this on, they were just too long and I wasn't happy. The fit of the body is a little weird on me too. I thought I would like it over top of dresses. I don't. This is something I really should see if I can find someone else who would enjoy it, because I just don't like it on myself. What did I knit this out of? Let's start with that. I did not write it down. That shows you how much I liked it. I think it was a woolly knit cone for this teal color, and maybe it was called Aqua. And then the cream color is Holscar Coast in linen. I do prefer the Holscar Coast. It has linen mixed into it. It's cotton and linen, and so the feel is different, where the woolly knit cone is straight up cotton and it feels like I said, like a wax crayon. I don't like the feel of that, where with the linen included it's a little bit better. The construction of this, like I said, I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want to give anything away. The construction is very unique. It was very fun. I feel like I learned something, but everything is knit flat. I think that's also part of the reason I didn't like it. And then you seam up the sides. I don't know. It was not the knit for me this year. And yeah, I'm glad I tried it. I'm glad I tried the cotton. I'm glad I tried doing a whole knit flat garment, but in doing so, I learned it's not for me. I started that one April 24th and finished it May 13th. The next knit I have here is the Surrey V-neck tee by Kadri. This was another test knit, and I knit the size 4 for this one. This I like. It's very different to anything I have in my wardrobe. It's got a V-neck in both the front and the back. I really should have, let's see. That's the front. It has a split hem, and the front of the split hem is shorter than the back, so that makes it easier for me to figure out which way it goes. The fit of this is very cool. I love the fact that it's the V-neck in the front and the back. I think that's really unique and striking. The sleeves are just a really short cap sleeve that's ribbed. And then, like I said, the bottom is the split hem ribbing. It's a really nice long rib. I think that's really cute. Again, I wear everything with leggings or high-waisted jeans, but I think something about a split hem looks really, really cute with stuff like that. I don't know. It's just another fun detail. If I can add it into a pattern, I tend to want to add it because I like how it looks. The fit of this, like I said, is great. I maybe, again, wish I would have knit a size up. What did I knit for this? I did a size 4. I think I maybe would have done well knitting a size 5, but I was very concerned about, with this type of neckline, with it slipping down my shoulders, so I did the size 4. and it's fine. It's a little snugger on me than maybe the pattern photos showed, which is my own problem. This is knit out of Serendipity on Birch sock, and that was something else I had an interesting time with the 80-20 base. It's a little bit plumper of a yarn, and I had a hard time getting the gauge. The gauge on this is 26 stitches per 4 inches. I think I would have had a better time if I had used a 75-25 yarn. So 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, because that's a little bit thinner. And I think I would have had an easier time getting the gauge. So this was a little hard on my hands to knit just because the fabric was so tight. But I think the final outcome was totally worth it. So yeah, I think I would knit it again. I would just change the yarn base that I used. I started that project April 28th and finished it May 25th. Next we are on my favorite knit of the whole year. This is by far my most worn, my most loved, my most cherished, my most labor of love. This is my Maybury cardigan by Amy Lowden, and it is a all over fisherman rib cardigan. I say labor of love because I got halfway through this and found a big mistake that I could not handle leaving, and so I ripped it out and started over. But it is the squishiest, most stunning, most beautiful fisherman rib garment. It's got beautiful big balloon sleeves with a squishy cuff. Double knit button band. This was my first ever double knit button band, so that was really fun. I love how they look. They are obviously more time consuming to knit, but the outcome I think is totally worth it. These buttons are from Denim and Rain. I love them, the clear glittery buttons. Just everything about this cardigan I love. I love wearing it open. I love wearing it buttoned up. I love it over dresses, I love it over jeans, over leggings, over everything. So this is my favorite knit of the year. I knit the size 5 for this one. I got the exact pattern measurements on this one. Nothing was, I knit everything to pattern, and then when I blocked it, it fit exactly, or blocked exactly to what the pattern called for. It's got a gauge of about 17 stitches per 4 inches. This is knit out of DK white yarn. This colorway is called Halliware Twins from my shop. It's a part of my Parent Trap collection that came out in the fall. So yeah, Halliware Twins on the 100% superwash merino base. I think if I was to change anything about this, I would just knit it in a neutral, or I would knit another one in a neutral, because I do love this red. I think it's gorgeous, but of course it doesn't match with everything, where if this was like a beige or a gray, I feel like I would get even more wear out of it. But yeah, so squishy. The increases are stunning. The pattern is so well written. Huge fan. Amy knocked it out of the park with this one, and it is by far my favorite knit of 2023. Yeah. Do I have anything else to say about it? I don't think so. Oh, so I started this May 15th and finished it July 15th. So it took me a long time. Fisherman's rib is slow going. You're basically knitting every row twice. So it takes a long time for it to grow, but oh my gosh, it's so worth it. So incredibly worth it. I think I could only maybe handle 1 or 2 fisherman rib garments in a year, but so worth the time and the effort for sure. Next garment I knit was a sample knit for Woolberry Fiber Co. I don't have it here with me, but I'm pretty sure I have some photos I can put on the screen. This is the Gartergan by Tori Yu. I would 100% knit this again. I want to knit one for myself. Once I finished the sample, I put it on and I was so sad that I had to send it away. I knit the size 3 for this one. It fit me wonderfully, so I would knit the size 3 again. And I knit this out of Berry Merino, which is 100% superwash merino fingering weight, and Berry Surrey, which is a mix of Surrey alpaca and silk held double. I would also do mine that way as well. And the color I used for this is Into the Woods. Measurements came out exactly to pattern. I said here, I definitely need to make one for myself. I love this knit. It was great. It was super fun, and it knit up really quickly because it's all garter. The sleeves obviously took a little bit longer because they're in the round, so you have to purl every second round, but the body knit flat went very fast because you're literally just knitting back and forth the whole time as opposed to having any purling that you have to do. I started this May 26th, finished it June 24th. Next test knit is the Brooklyn Raglan Light for Tori Yu. Very cute. Nice bright sunshiny yellow with pops of like pink and green in there. It's blowing out a little bit on camera. I knit the size 3 for this one, and I think I need to block it again. The measurements for some reason came out a little bit smaller than they should have, but my gauge is correct. So I think, or my gauge on my swatch was correct. So I think I just need to give the sleeves a little bit of a yank when I block it. I didn't pin this out at all when I blocked it. I gave it a full soak and then laid it out on my mat, but I didn't pin anything, and I just need a wee bit more room in the cuffs of the sleeves. So at some point I will reblock this again and do that, because otherwise the fit is great. It has a really cute, hopefully I can show this here, curved hem. Yes, curved hem on the bottom. I really like that. And then it's just a raglan with, again, the detail. Hopefully, yeah, you can see that pretty well. The really nice knit purl detail on the sleeves. I knit, like I said, the size 3. This is Woolberry Fiber Co. in the colorway Conch. And this is on their berry sock base, which is a 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. I think I've learned I don't particularly love garments knit out of that. No, I take that back. The reason I don't like the feel of this one is because it's 80% BFL, not superwash merino. That's why. The BFL is a little bit rougher. So yeah, I wouldn't knit garments again out of a BFL based yarn. I'm gonna stick to merino because the 80-20 merino I like the feel of. This is just a little bit rough. I think another block might help soften it up though too, so yeah, we'll block this again and see how it goes. But I like it otherwise, and I love the color. It just feels so springy and sunshiny and fun. So that is that. Let's see, I started this June 26th and I didn't write down a finish date. Don't know when I finished it. I finished it on time. I know I finished it on time for the test knit, so whenever that was, actually I could tell you when I finished it. Not for a good reason though. We had a very large storm come through our yard, and I finished it while the power was out for that. And I know when the storm was. Let's see. I finished that on July 27th. I'm gonna write that down if I can find a pencil. So June 26th to July 27th for the Brooklyn Raglan Light. And I would knit it again. I think, like I said, I'll see what it's like when I block it and pull on those sleeves and pin them out a little bit more. And if that doesn't fix the issue of them being a little tight in the arm, I would instead knit a size 4. Next test knit is the Gaffret Raglan by Celine Phaeton. And I knit this out of Birch Sock and Birch Surrey held double in the colorway 7 Pembroke Lane, another colorway from my Parent Trap collection. And I did change this one ever so slightly with permission of the designer. I did crop it. So this pattern is designed to be like a full-length sweater, and I really wanted to crop it, and I'm so glad I did. I think it's really, really cute cropped. So this pattern, I knit the size 4, and it does come in 2 different views is how the designer calls it. So there is one like mine with the textured sleeves, and this little detail on the neckline. And then there is also one that's just like a straight up raglan with no texture or anything. And I'm glad I did the texture. I think this really, really adds to it. It's really pretty. I don't know, it's just different. Different than a classic normal raglan. And this feels like a cozy sweatshirt detail to me on the front there. So I really like that as well. And yeah, I'm glad I cropped it. So, trying to think here. Interestingly enough, I had talked earlier about how that one t-shirt had a body length of 10 inches and I wished it was longer. This one, I have a note here saying body length is 9 inches and I love it. So I almost wonder if, let's see. Yeah, I think the raglan hits a little bit deeper than that tee did, and so that is why I like the length. I feel like it probably hits about the same spot as that t-shirt that I said was a little short. There is a stitch marker in this. That's funny. Why is that there? It's not holding a loose stitch. Oh gosh. That means I blocked this with a stitch marker in it, and I took finished object photos with a stitch marker in it, and it's bright green. Let's test my autofocus. Look at that. That's insane. That's funny. Anyways, really like this. Was a fun knit. Would I knit it again? I'm going to say no, only because the gauge is, I don't know, what is the gauge? 20 stitches by 34 rows. I think I'm still going to say no because I feel like it felt like a slog. Like it went really, really slow. I love the outcome of it. I'm very happy with the outcome. I wear it quite a bit, but I don't know why it felt like a slog. So I don't know if I would knit it again, but I'm really happy with this finished object, and like I would recommend the pattern. It's not that I didn't enjoy. Yeah, I would recommend the pattern. It's a great pattern. I love the finished outcome. I just had a hard time getting through it and I don't know why. So yeah, love Surrey garments. Also love the detail in that pattern as well. I'm working on another Celine Phaeton pattern right now, and she's just got a lot of very valuable information in her patterns. I think that might be a great first time knitter pattern because there's some stuff going on, but there's also lots of detail in the pattern, so it's not just a boring raglan. You have a little bit more fun, but you also have tons of information available. I feel like Celine or Sarah Opie would be great first time garment pattern designers just because they're so detailed. I cast that one on July 14th, finished it August 16th. Next here we have my Warp and Weft raglan. This was a test knit for Jessie Made Designs. This one was really fun because you knit the whole garment inside out and then flip it so that you get all of these really cute floats throughout the garment. So it is like a 1x1 color work. You can see the inside there, but you knit it and then flip it. I love these raglan seams. There's also a seam running down the sleeves that matches those raglan seams. I think that's a really fun detail. And I'm really pleased with the colors I chose. This pattern, first of all, I knit the size 4, and this pattern is designed technically to knit with spin cycle yarn so that you get that kind of fade of that hand spun yarn throughout, which I did not do, and I'm happy with that. I think this pretty like watercolory yarn with the solid deep navy is really beautiful. So not disappointed that I saved some money and didn't use spin cycle. I'm very pleased with that choice. Cropped body again. I didn't write it down, but I think the crop is about the same length as the previous sweater, the Gaffret raglan, so about 9 inches. Fits again really cute with dresses, high-waisted jeans, that sort of thing. And my bust circumference on this is 42 inches, so a little bit snugger again, but in a good way. I'm happy with the fit of it. Yeah, very, very cute. Yarn-wise, did I say what this is? This is Birch worsted, which is 100% superwash merino worsted weight yarn. And the colors are Fourier 411 is the darker one, and then why am I blanking? Can I Hug Her is the lighter color. Again, Parent Trap collection. All of the sweaters, I think, is this the last one that's out of? Yes, this is the last one out of the Parent Trap collection. But at this point, I kind of started dyeing collections up, knitting with them, and then releasing the collection, which surprisingly has been going quite well for me. I like having a sample to show of something knit up, so this was For Your 411 and Can I Hug Her. Really fun knit. It was very fun to test for Jessie. I've never knit any of her patterns before this one. And in saying that, I would 100% knit her patterns again. This was very fun. A little bit more complicated because of the flipping inside out and having to remember like where to hold floats of certain things because you're technically knitting the wrong side, but yeah. If you're able to wrap your head around that, it works out totally fine and it makes a beautiful garment, I think. We are on to battery number 3. I'm really glad I ordered extra batteries. I have heard of people having to order extra batteries before, so I planned ahead. The joys of learning a new camera, honestly. Back to my warp and weft Raglan though. I did cast that on July 24th and I finished it August 26th. We're getting close to the end. This next one I finished in September, so that says something. This is my Reste sweater test knit for Lizzie Hester. You might also know her as Hive Knits. I love this one as well. But another situation of I should not knit fingering weight garments because they take too long. And I lose steam on them, especially if they're a test knit. If it's a knit that I have like no timeline on, I think that might be a different situation. But when it's a test knit, I just lose steam. So this is, like I said, a fingering weight garment. I knit the size 6 for this one. I don't have gauge written down, but I do know, I think it was about like 24 or 25 stitches per 4 inches. The main color I have here is just a one-of-a-kind that I dyed up, but it is Birch fingering and Birch Surrey held double. And then for these stripes, we'll start from the top down. Mithril, then slate, then gloaming, then aubergine, and finally indigo. And those stripes are just a Surrey held double. I used Fiber Spates Cumulus for the stripes. It's a very, very affordably priced Surrey yarn. I think a little ball of it, which is 50 grams, is about $8. I don't have tons of Surrey scraps in my stash, especially ones that coordinated well, and I didn't want to dye up skeins for myself because that would just have a lot of extra skeins that I had to deal with, so I decided this was the way to go, to just purchase 5 little balls of the Surrey, and I'm glad I did. I think the colors work really, really well together. You can see those little pearl bumps in between the Surrey stripes, just a little fun, simple detail. It has a super thick raglan on it. I think it's 6 stitches wide, and then a folded over collar. I did knit my collar a little bit shorter. The pattern calls for a turtleneck, and again, I don't like how turtlenecks fit me, so I knit that a little bit smaller, or shorter rather. It is a very tight fitting collar, which I don't love, but I also don't hate. I think I just need to get used to it because I'm used to looser fitting collars like this where they sit a little further down, where with this one, because of how tight it is, it sits kind of there-ish. So just something to get used to, but I do enjoy it and I think it looks beautiful. Split hem on this one as well. See it there. And the rib on this whole garment is a 2x2 rib. I do love a 2x2 rib. I think it just looks so neat and polished. Overall, love this knit. I would knit it again. I think it was really fun. I just wouldn't want to knit it on a timeline, I guess is the best way to put it, just because I felt slightly rushed. This is a longer garment. I don't think I have the length. Oh, I do have the length written down. 15 inches from the underarm. So it hits me kind of just below my waist, a little bit further down. It looks great with a pair of leggings because of that. And with the split hem, I think it's really cute with leggings. So love this garment. Also loved seeing the colors that the other testers chose for it, because there's just so many different things that you can do with these stripes. And I think a lot of people did use scraps up for their stripes, which is the intention of this garment, is to use up Surrey scraps. So it was cool to see what people came up with. I cast this on July 28th and finished it on September 9th. Next here I have the Leith cardigan, which I test knit for Rebecca Clow. This one I would knit again, but not in this yarn or in these colors, is the best way to put it, I think. I'll explain that shortly. But yeah, test knit for Rebecca Clow. I knit the size 4. This is just a really large, cropped, oversized drop shoulder cardigan with intarsia stripes. So half of the body is one color and half is the other, and you do this intarsia join down the middle. I believe in the sample the sleeves have stripes on them as well. I chose to do mine solid. So I don't particularly love knitting boucle. It's very hard to see the stitch definition and to know what you're doing. So that was an issue. And then I started knitting this with the pink, green, and a white, and it looked way too Christmassy for my liking. So I over-dyed it. And the issue I had over-dyeing it, which I should have known, color theory, first of all, the pink bled, which was an issue. So it really warmed up the stripes that I over-dyed. Well, I over-dyed the whole thing, but the stripes that were white around the pink warmed up a little bit because the pink bled. But then that makes the green stripes look kind of yellow-green sickly because they took the color differently, obviously, than the pink stripes because they didn't have that pink bleeding. I hope that makes sense. But because of that, I'm really sad because I just don't enjoy wearing it because this half feels green to me. Not this like deep taupe brownie sort of color that I wanted on everything. So that was a little disappointing. I could try over dyeing it again, I guess, with all black, but it's very hard to get black even, and so I worry that I would just hate it even more. Yeah. So like I said, I knit the size 4 for this one. I'm not 100% sure if my gauge was perfectly correct. I did do a gauge swatch for it, and it's hard to count the stitches. So I think my gauge was the 20 stitches per 4 inches, like the pattern called for, but not 100% sure. And then, yeah, ended up over dyeing it because it looked too Christmassy. I cast this on August 5th, finished it August 25th. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I haven't decided. It doesn't feel Christmas anymore to me. It feels vintagey, but I'm just sad. It makes me sad, and so I've been avoiding it because I'm sad. I also knit the sleeves way too long on this at first. I knit them to pattern, and I don't know what was going on with that. They were way too long. They were like way past my fingertips. So I had to rip a large portion of the sleeves out and kind of fudge that. So that wasn't fun either, but I would knit the pattern again. I think the fit of it is really cute. I'm disappointed in my yarn choice. I'm surprised I can still talk right now. This is gonna be a long video. I'm gonna have fun editing this. This is one of my favorites of this year as well. This is the Alder sweater by Rebecca Clow as well. This was a test knit. Can we just talk about this texture? Is that not gorgeous? It's stunning. And I used some yarn I've been hoarding for a really, really long time for this one, and I just love how it turned out. This is a size 5, and I used Explore Knits and Fibers Rockies DK for this one in the colors Moonstone and what I believe to be Ava Noir. I purchased it from their Leave No Trace collection, so it didn't have a name on it, but I searched through their Instagram, and the Ava Noir is the closest color to it, so I'm assuming that's what it is. They don't label their yarns from Leave No Trace because they're usually yarns that didn't 100% pass the quality check, but yeah, I'm 99% sure this is Avonmore. So Moonstone, as you can see, is like this really pretty pale pink, blue, purple sort of color. There's everything in there. And then Avonmore is a really deep, dark purple. I love this. I'm so happy with this. It fits beautifully. The raglan, like, it's a raglan, but the seam like meshes in with the pattern of the rest of the sweater so well. Everything about this is perfect. My only complaint is the Explorer Knits and Fibers Rockies DK. Nothing to do with the colors, nothing to do with how the yarn feels. I just had issues with gauge because the Rockies DK is more on the sport weight side. I wish they didn't label it as a DK. It's quite thin. I think there is a usual DK that I use is about 230 yards per 100 grams, and I believe theirs is about 274 yards per 100 grams. And I should have kept that in mind. I did a swatch, and my swatch matched, but I think once I start knitting and I get into the groove, sometimes I tighten up ever so slightly, and I maybe should have checked my gauge a couple more times throughout the project, and it got a little funky because my bust circumference should have been about 47 inches and I got about 45 inches. So I think somewhere in there it went funky, and I think it has to do with the fact that the DK weight yarn is so light compared to a normal DK weight yarn that I'm used to. I'm still happy with the fit. I still think it's great. I still love it. It's beautiful. I just don't know if I'm going to purchase any more Rockies DK. I have some in my stash. I will obviously use it, but I think if I'm going to purchase a thicker weight yarn from them at this point, I'm going to go for their worsted base as opposed to their DK, just because, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it causes me more issues than maybe I would like. So, love this sweater. Would knit it again. Gorgeous. The pattern is definitely slower going. There's a lot you're doing in every row to get this texture, so keep that in mind. But I loved it, and I loved the outcome, and it's so pretty. So yes, I would knit it again. I cast this one on August 31st, and I finished it on October 1st. Next we have the Skyline pullover, which I tested for Tori Yu. This one I also knit out of Explorer Knits and Fibers Rockies DK. This colorway is Joshua Tree National Park, and it's like a creamy base with purples, greens, pinks, blues, all sorts of fun colors throughout. I knit the size 4 for this one, and it's just a really cute dropped shoulder, or so, sorry, nope, not drop shoulder. It is a saddle shoulder. So you knit this ribbed saddle first, and then pick up stitches on the sides to do the body, and then that rib detail also carries down the sleeves, which I think is really cool. Just a really fun classic shape, another boxy huge sweater. I love the fit of a boxy sweater on me. It's got the drop to it, so like a drop shoulder, even though it has the saddle, it fits like a drop shoulder. And just a really, the collar size is a nice loose but not too loose collar. 1x1 ribbing on the bottom. I finished everything on this with a tubular bind off. I love how that looks. Love the garment overall. Very happy with this. Would knit it again. It took me a while. Oh, not too long actually. A month? Took me a month. I feel like this one took me a while. Maybe it was because I spent so much time on the Alder. I was working on this at the same time as I was knitting the Alder sweater, and I think then I had to work on this quite monogamously to get it finished in time because the Alder took me so long. So maybe that's why it felt like it took a long time. But the outcome of it I think is great. I think it's a really classic fit, and I would knit it again. The sleeves are more fitted. I think, again, mine are maybe slightly more fitted than the pattern called for because of my issues with knitting the Rockies DK. I've also learned this year that when I knit sleeves or anything with a smaller circumference, I do need to go up a needle size. My knitting tightens up on smaller circumferences, and so I don't think I went up a needle size on this one, which is my own fault, and that made the sleeves a little bit tighter. But otherwise, overall, love the outcome of this. Would knit it again. It's a very classic, cute fit, and I do love the colorway. I just don't like the Rockies DK, I think. Let's see, I cast this on September 1st and finished it October 10th. Very happy with this knit by Tori Yu as well. This one, I was working with a lot of Rockies DK at this point, it seems. This is my Sibling sweater, my size test knit for Laura Penrose. This is also knit out of Rockies DK. The colorways I used here are Daybreak and Nutcracker. Daybreak is the rusty sort of color, and Nutcracker is this beige. What did I learn with this one? Let's see. Actually, no. First, here is the back of it. So the selling point of this sweater for sure is this detail along the back where you increase. It just looks really cool with the stripes. And then it has a nice, squishy, cozy, folded over collar. Just typical ribbing on the bottom, and the cuffs, which I did finish with a tubular bind off as well. So this is another one I did with the Rockies DK. This one worked well though, because the gauge was a little bit tighter. I believe the gauge is like 21 or 22 stitches per 4 inches. So for this, you're looking at kind of like a heavier fingering weight or a sport weight, so it worked quite well. And I really didn't have gauge issues with it. Now, it did take longer to knit because I knit a really big size. I knit this larger than the pattern calls for. I knit a size 6, and I don't have my measurements written down, but I think this gives me about 13 inches of positive ease. I'm happy I did it. I love the fit. I think it looks beautiful on, and it's so squishy and cozy. I've worn this a lot in the past couple months, but it took a long time because of the gauge. So yeah, would I knit it again? Yes, but maybe not so oversized. Because I did enjoy knitting it. The stripes make it go quickly because you're just waiting to get to the next stripe, but I think I wouldn't go for so oversized next time. Now, I love the fit, so like, I don't know, it's kind of a catch-22 in that way, because would I love the fit as much if it was snugger? Maybe not, I don't know. The other issue I had with this one, I didn't alternate skeins in the stripes, and then I started knitting the sleeves, or one sleeve, and I hadn't finished the body yet. I had just started knitting the sleeves because I wanted something different to do, and I noticed that the sleeve, the Nutcracker stripes, I don't know if you can tell, are a different color than the body. They were obviously 2 different dye lots that I got, and thank goodness I had enough yarn and I was able to make the body all one dye lot and the sleeves the different dye lot for the Nutcracker. Now the skeins don't have dye lot written on them, so I just had to stare at them very intensely and figure out which ones were which, but I was able to do that. That was my own fault. Usually I alternate, but I was like, oh, it's stripes, I don't need to, it'll be fine. I should have. So that was the only issue I had with this. Otherwise, yeah, very happy, would knit it again. Love the fit, very well written, but definitely not a beginner pattern. I would say the pattern assumes you know some basics of sweater construction, but otherwise it turned out gorgeously, so I've worn it a lot. Let's see, I cast this on September 4th and I finished it October 25th. The next thing I cast on, I also don't have here. This was a gift. It was the Baby Aosta sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, and I knit this for a friend of mine who was having a newborn. I knit the size C, which is about a 6-month size, and I used some yarn from my stash, Expression Fiber Arts, Not sure of the base or the colorway. It didn't have a label. I was gifted it at some point years ago and it didn't have a label, but it does have sparkle in it. I don't think you can really tell in the photos, but it turned out really cute. And she loved it. And I've seen it on her little girl and it's so sweet. I cast this on September 10th and finished it September 22nd. Would knit it again. Great baby knit, I think. And I love the little button detail on the one raglan. Makes it a little bit easier to put it on a baby as well because it's really hard to get things over top of a baby's head. So I thought the button detail was great. We are getting down to the end here. I think I have 2 more garments and a hat that I don't have a picture of, and then we're done. Oh my goodness. I don't know how long this is. I've had to split up the video into multiple parts. Also, my camera doesn't tell me recording time, so who knows, honestly. But this is my next finished garment. This is the Cardi Jumper Marinara version. I test this for Vernet, and I don't have it buttoned up all the way, but is what it is. Gauge issues. I knit this out of that Woolberry Fiber Co. tweed again. The color here, the green is, oh, I don't have it written, Morning Hike, I think. And then the light color, I just had it kicking in my scraps, but it's the exact same tweed base, so undyed, I believe. I did a gauge swatch. Something went funky. I think I was rushing on it a little bit, and then I started knitting tighter because I felt rushed. So my gauge is off. It does not fit as I would like. I knit the size 6 for this, and yeah, my gauge is somehow quite a bit smaller than it should have been, so that is my fault. The pattern itself, love it. I wish it fit me better because I think it would be really, really cute. I can't really wear it buttoned up because it's a little too snug, but it has this really pretty shoulder detail that I love. The stripes are very, very cute. I think they're very classy. It has a double knit button band on it. And then just beautiful striped sleeves. So would I knit this again? Yes. If I had time for a fingering weight garment. It is fingering weight, so that's time consuming. If I knit it again, I would use a plumper fingering weight yarn. Because yeah, that was, I think, part of my issue is that, again, this fingering weight is very, very thin. I think it's almost 500 yards per 100 grams compared to the normal fingering weight that I work with, which is about 400 yards per 100 grams. So I think that was part of my issue. And then yeah, just being a little bit rushed and knitting tighter probably than my gauge swatch. And it was my own fault for not checking as I was knitting the gauge. That's something I've learned this year too. Do your gauge swatch. Yes, that's going to give you information, but you need to also check it as you're working on the project. You can't just trust that it's going to work. So that was on me. I might gift this to someone whom I know really liked it and I think it would fit them better, because it's just gonna sit in my closet and I'm not gonna wear it because it doesn't fit the way I want it to, so we'll see. I cast that on October 3rd, finished it November 8th. Next thing I did here, I don't know if I have a like really nicely posed photo, but I do have a photo I sent to the friend I was knitting this for. I knit this as a commission, I guess is the best way to put it. My friend asked me to knit it for them to gift to someone. So this is the Big Barely Bonnet by Pure Stitches. I knit this out of, do I have the yarn on me? No, it was from Hobby Lobby. I don't have it on me to show you, but if you're interested, I can let you know in the comments. But just a acrylic yarn. And I knit the size 1 to 3 months for this one. I started it October 17th, finished it October 19th. It was a very, very quick knit, very chunky gauge. I don't have it written down here. I got very lax with my notes near the end of the year and I need to go back and catch myself up. But yeah, I think the gauge was like 16 stitches for 4 inches. And it's garter stitch the whole way too, so very quick knit. Final finished object of the year. No, I did not finish my Daft Days cardigan. if you're wondering about that. I want to finish it so badly, but I've been busy doing other things. My final finish knit of the year though is my Ruska cardigan. This is a test knit for Sarah Opie. I knit the size 5 and it is one of my favorite things I've knit this year too. It has pockets. It's the first thing I've knit other than my t-shirt, which I'm already forgetting the name of, that has the one pocket. This is a cardigan with pockets and it's amazing. So this yarn here is Birch DK in the colorway Flocked Pine, and I love it too. I don't know why though, I keep knitting colored cardigans and I don't have any neutral cardigans that I've knit myself in my wardrobe, so the next cardigan I knit needs to be neutral. But beautiful, beautiful cardigan, very long. This hits probably like halfway between my hips and my knees, and it is a garter body, stockinette sleeves, and there is a stockinette panel that runs down the side of the body as well. And then here are the pockets. They're so cool. I can't believe I knit a pocket, honestly. So it has these beautiful pockets and they kind of like flow from the band, which is not a button band. There are no buttons on this, but from the band into the pocket. They have an I-cord edge on them as well. There are ends in these pockets I forgot to weave in. I can feel them. But this just fits so well. I feel so pretty in it, and it's just cozy and warm and everything I was hoping it would be. The garter stitch was really nice to knit because knitting flat back and forth, I don't have to purl at all. The only purling that you had to do when you were knitting flat back and forth was on these stockinette panels that run down the sides, which was not that much at all. It wasn't bad at all. The construction of this is really unique as well. You can see kind of on the shoulders here how it's got those stockinette sections. I hope you can see that. But the construction was very unique, nothing I've ever done before. I think it makes the back look really polished. And it just fits like a dream. So highly recommend knitting this. Would I knit it again? Yes. I would knit it in a neutral color. I would happily have another one of these in my wardrobe. It takes a long time, obviously, because it's long, but it's worth every minute. So love, love, love my Ruska cardigan. Highly recommend the pattern. Was a great pattern to finish for my last knit of the year. I cast this on October 26th, finished it November 28th. Like I said, I haven't finished anything else this year. I've cast some stuff on, but I'm still working on it. Nothing is due test knit wise until mid-January. So yeah, that is my final knit of the year. So I'm gonna pause my camera here and I'm gonna stack everything up again, and we'll see. I can't, there's no way I can hold all this, but I'm gonna make a nice stack behind me and we'll finish everything out. So as you can see, this was indeed the year of the garment for me. I didn't count. Let's see. I finished one pair of socks. I know that for sure. Let's count sweaters. So I finished one pair of socks, 2 hats, and 27 garments this year. Wow. I hadn't sat down and counted that. That's crazy to me. I can't believe I finished 27 garments. That does include tees and the one baby garment that I knit as well, but that's craziness. 27 garments this year. I feel very accomplished. I feel very proud of what I've done, and I guess we'll see what happens this coming year. Like I said throughout this video, if you have any questions about anything I talked about today, please let me know. I will try to have as much information as possible down in the description, but there is a character limit and I'm not sure if I'm going to run out of space. So we'll see. I will put as much as I possibly can down in the description, and if you have any questions, please ask me. If you liked what you saw today, also please consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. It helps out the channel so much. This year of 2023 was such a huge year of growth for the channel, which I'm so proud of, and I'm really excited to see where things go in this coming year. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed, I would really, really appreciate that. If you like garment knitting, I am the channel for you. Otherwise, I do upload videos every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so I hope I will see you again next week for another video. I think I will be doing just a regular podcast episode talking about what I've been working on over the past couple weeks, which is usually what I do on every second week. Just want to check my notes here quickly as well. I think I've caught everything that I wanted to talk about. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week. Bye!